We're starting off a little bit unconventional when it comes to Caribbean cuisine. Usually we season and marinate overnight. In this case, we didn't. Cleaned, washed, packed dry, and they're in a pan here on a medium-high heat. These lamb chops, we've got 2, 4, 5 of them. Vegetable oil, medium-high heat, and we're sort of searing them, getting some color on both sides. So it's gonna go for maybe about 5-10 minutes, develop some color, and then we're gonna go in with all that lovely flavors. I'm just gonna take these out of the pan at this point. They have developed a little bit of color, nothing too spectacular. But at the bottom here, that's where all that goodness is gonna start happening. Just quickly remove those. Just gonna set it aside for a few minutes. And I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna turn my heat down at this point to low, because the whole idea here now is to build those flavors and to soften up the ingredients that I'm going in with now. And I have here a medium onion, a couple cloves of garlic, some fresh ground black pepper, I've got a bunch of fresh thyme, some scallion, and all we want to do is move that around at the bottom of the pan here and sweat that down for about 3 minutes. Next up, I've got some tomato concentrate. I'm going to go in with a couple tablespoons of that. And again, just move that around in here. Just to toast that to bring out the sweetness of that tomato. Just give that about a minute or so. For a little bit of acid, I like to go in, my heat is still on low, and to deglaze and to bring up some of that flavor, that sweetness and all that fond at the bottom of the pan there, orange juice. Some more rich Caribbean flavor. I've got a couple thick slices of ginger, some allspice berries, which we call pimento berries as well in the Caribbean. That's a bit too much, so maybe about 6 of them. Just gonna toss that in there. And I've got here 1 stick of cinnamon, bam, in the pot. We're gonna go back in now with all those lovely lamb chops. Now we don't have enough liquid in there to really braise this and cook this. All that goodness from there. So we're going to go in with some water. Turn your heat up to high and bring that up to a boil. It's come up to a bubble now, so it's time to go in with some salt. Remember, you can taste it later on and add some more if you want. And I've got here 1 scotch bonnet pepper. This is totally optional. I'm going in with it whole, bam, just like that. Just kind of tuck him in down inside. The Caribbean sunshine need a little place in there. We're going in with it whole so we get flavor from it. Don't break it if you don't want to release that fire, that Caribbean sunshine. Leave it whole. Later on you can fish it out. Turn your heat down to low. Put the lid on there and let that go for about 50 minutes or so. It's been about 50 minutes. It's coming together nicely. The meat should be falling off the bones at this point. Here's where you can fish that scotch bonnet pepper out of there. Discard it if you want. Remember, if you want that fire, if you want that kick, you can certainly burst it and it's going to explode in there. The gravy at this point is a bit too thin. You will notice there's a fair amount of fat from the lamb chops on the top there. You can skim that off, toss it out. I like going in at this point with some cherry tomatoes. These are fairly big cherry tomatoes. And I'm going to crank up my heat now because I want to thicken up this gravy. You can also remove the stems from the thyme at this point as well, along with the pieces of ginger. I must make mention of this. That stick of cinnamon that we put in there, it's going to be very fragrant, but it's also going to be very powerful, a very powerful flavor. If you want, you can remove it at this point, and if you want also, you can go in with a pinch of cinnamon rather than a stick of cinnamon if cinnamon is not necessarily your thing. Turn the heat up, taste it for salt, adjust it accordingly, and here is where you're going to personalize it to the thickness of the gravy that you like. So there you go, soldiers, a Caribbean style stewed lamb chops. Nice and thick gravy, some rice, roti, dumpling. Watch now. Just free up yourself and enjoy this thing. Let me turn off the heat before my gravy turn into something else. See? Remember, these allspice berries, not so much fun. So remove those as well. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. Show some love. Give the video the thumbs up. Check out the website. This will be posted on there in a couple weeks time if you're looking to be able to print off this recipe. But anyways, check it out, man. You're gonna love this one.